I call this meeting to order. Welcome to meeting number 88 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Natural Resources, pursuant to the order of reference of Tuesday, October 17th, 2023, and the adopted motion of Wednesday, December 13th, 2023. The committee is resuming the clause-by-clause consideration of Bill C-49, an act to amend the Canada, Newfoundland, and Labrador Atlantic Accord Implementation Act, and the Canada-Nova Scotia Offshore Petroleum Resources Accord Implementation Act, and to make consequential amendments to other acts. Since today's meeting is taking place in a hybrid format, I would like to make a few comments for the benefit of members and witnesses. Please wait until I recognize you by name before speaking. For those participating by video conference, click on the microphone icon to activate your mic, and please mute yourself when you are not speaking. Interpretation for those on Zoom, you have the choice at the bottom of your screen of either floor, English, or French. For those in the room, you can use the earpiece and select the desired channel. Although this room is equipped with a powerful audio system, feedback events can occur. These can be extremely harmful to interpreters and cause serious injuries. The most common cause of sound feedback is an earpiece worn too close to a microphone. We therefore ask all participants to exercise a high degree of caution when handling the earpieces, especially when your microphone or your neighbor's microphone is turned on. In order to prevent incidents and safeguard the hearing health of interpreters, I invite participants to ensure that they speak into the microphone into which their headset is plugged in, to avoid manipulating the earbuds by placing them on the table away from the microphone when they are not in use. A reminder that all comments should be addressed through the chair. Additionally, screenshots or taking photos of your screen is not permitted. In accordance with our routine motion, I'm informing the committee that all remote participants have completed the required connection tests in advance of this meeting. With us today to answer your questions from the Department of Justice, Jean-Francois Roman, Legal Counsel. From the Department of Natural Resources, Annette Tobin, Director; Lauren Knowles, Deputy Director; Cheryl McNeil, Deputy Director by video conference; Danielle Morin, Senior Legislative and Policy Advisor, Renewable and Electrical Energy Division, as well as the Legislative Clerks from the House of Commons, Dancela Boy and Emily Thivierge. Okay, now we will proceed to the clause-by-clause consideration, resuming debate on Clause 38, BQ 11. Monsieur, some point of order?
Yeah.
Point of order by Ms. Stubbs.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair, for the introduction, and for everybody and all the officials for being here. Nice to see you all, colleagues. I just want to quickly move a motion before we get started pertaining to government estimates.
I'm just going to ask you to hold. We cannot move a motion on a point of order. Once you do get the floor, though, you will be able to move your motion. So if you can wait until you have an opportunity to get the floor, but not through a point of order. Okay. You have a point of order as well, Mr. Patzer?
No, I'm good. Sorry, I'm good.
Okay. Sorry. So we're on BQ 11, and I will turn on a point of order.
No, she wants to
No,
speak to,
I'd like to be on the speaking list, as you just said.
Okay, so but I do want to go to Monsieur Smart first, so he can start by proceeding with moving the motion, if you'd like to move the motion.
Merci. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. So the amendment that we're suggesting to paragraph is that the prior to making a call for bids, the regulator has to conduct a regional assessment or strategic environmental assessment of the impacts of offshore renewable energy projects in those Crown Reserve areas, or the regulator has determined that a previous regional assessment or strategic environmental assessment has been conducted. The reason for this is that there are some groups that appeared before the committee, Ecology Action Center, Energy, Nova Scotia fisheries, and they all expressed their concerns with regard to tenders that might be made in zones that weren't in the past or have not already been evaluated in the context of regional or strategic environmental evaluation. So I think it would be important to improve the bill and take into account their concerns.
Thank you, Monsieur Simard, for moving your motion. We'll now proceed to, we have some folks that want to speak on the motion. Ms. Stubbs has passed. I'll go to Mr. Angus.
No.
No? Okay. Mr. Aldag, would you like to speak on the motion, or Ms. DeBrusen?
Yes, so.
No, go ahead. I'll pass mine to Mr.
Go ahead, Mr. Brusen.
So I think we've had this conversation a few times now about some of the different amendments that have been proposed by the BQ. And what I'll say is, look, we agree, and I agree with the intent, but ultimately we're going to be opposing this amendment. And when I say that, it's that, there are currently regional assessments for offshore wind that are being done right now in advance of future calls for bids. And the bill has amendments that do allow and provide for offshore regulators to have the authority to conduct regional and strategic assessments, but they're not intended to be prescriptive. And really, when we're talking about this work and how we've discussed these with the provinces would be unlikely to support such prescriptive measures. So I will be opposing this.
Thank you, Ms. DeBrusen. As I don't see any other members who'd like to speak on the amendment, we will proceed to the vote. Shall BQ 11 carry?
Mr. Aldig? No. Mr. Brusen? No. Mr. Batiste?
No.
Madame Lapointe?
No.
Mr. Sorbara?
No.
Mr. Dreeshen?
Yes.
Mr. Falk?
Yeah.
Mr. Patzer?
Yeah.
Ms. Stubbs?
Yeah.
Monsieur Simard?
Oui.
Mr. Angus?
No.
5 yeas, 6 nays.
BQ 11 is defeated. We'll now move to, yes, Ms. Stubbs?
Can I move my motion now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair. Thanks for the clarification earlier. So it's been properly submitted, and I would just like to quickly move this motion pertaining to Government Estimate C. I gave notice on February 15th regarding the supplementary estimates that the Minister can speak to those estimates to be accountable to all Canadians, and so I sure do hope that all members of this committee will want to hear from the Minister to be open, accountable, and transparent to all of the people who sent us here to do these jobs on their behalf. So I would like to move that, pursuant to Standing Order 1082, the committee invite the Minister of Energy and Natural Resources to appear for 2 hours with departmental officials to testify on the supplementary estimate C for the fiscal year 2023-24, and that they appear before the end of the current supply period. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Stubbs. I will now go to the speaking list. I have Mr. Angus and Mr. Patzer. Mr. Angus, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I certainly support this because this is common. However, I vote to adjourn because we are dealing with important legislation. Once we deal with the legislation, then we can bring this forward. So I would say if Madame Stubbs wants to talk with us about this, I'm totally supportive, but I really want to focus on the jobs that we're dealing with Newfoundland and Labrador, so I vote to adjourn the debate.
Go ahead. Proceed to a vote.
Mr. Aldag? Yes. Mr. Brusen?
Yes, adjourn.
Mr. Batiste?
Yes.
Madame Lapointe?
Oui.
Mr. Sorbara?
Yes.
Mr. Dreeshen?
No.
Mr. Falk?
Nope.
Mr. Patzer?
Nope.
Ms. Stubbs?
No.
Monsieur Simard?
Oui.
Mr. Angus?
Oui.
7 yeas, 4 nays.
So that's carried. We'll now go back to proceed to G1. Do we have a member for G1 to move it, Mr. Bruson?
This is actually a pretty, it's a small correction amendment. It is to change the wording from the selection is made the basis of the criterion is what's written currently. It would change that to criteria. So it's really a matter of a correction in the language choice. So I'm hoping that others will choose to support this.
I don't see anybody else for debate. We can go right to the vote.
Mr. Aldag?
Yes.
Mr. Bruson?
Yes.
Mr. Batiste?
Yes.
Madame Lapointe?
Oui.
Mr. Sorbara?
Yes.
Mr. Dreeshen?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Falk? Mr. Pratzer?
Sure.
Ms. Stubbs?
Yes.
Mr. Simard?
Wait.
Mr. Angus?
Yes.
11 yeas, no nays.
Okay. G1 is carried unanimously. We'll now proceed to NDP 1. I will go to the member, Mr. Angus.
Thank you, Chair. Well, certainly one thing we heard from witnesses is concerns that if we are going to have big investment in offshore wind, that we actually make sure that we have that Canadian workers are benefiting and that we're making sure that there's commitments to good jobs, because certainly we know that people who've worked in the oil sector who may be wanting to work there, they're used to getting good pay and good jobs, and it was raised issues of contracting out and bringing in other workers from other nations to handle the big jobs. So this would be a pretty straightforward amendment to make sure that it includes project labor agreements and community benefit agreements to increase the participation of Canadians involved in this. And this is very much in line with matching what Biden is doing. Biden has made commitments to make sure that there are going to be jobs, there are going to be good paying union jobs for American workers. We can't leave our Canadian workers in Newfoundland, Labrador, Nova Scotia, and those who may want to move there to do these jobs. We can't put them at risk without having commitments that there's going to be good, strong labor agreements in place.
Thank you, Mr. Angus. I'll now go to the next speaker, Mr. Bruson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I agree with the intent of what's been proposed, but I had a question for the officials. To begin, has there been discussion with the provinces about this amendment, and do we have a sense of how they would respond?
Hi, I think the chair, I thank the member for the question. Yes, we have had discussions with the provinces. They're likely to oppose on the basis that trade unions are captured under the term individuals, which are represented or not by trade unions.
And could I ask another question, just following up on that?
You have the floor.
Just because I just heard something, I just wanted to make sure I understood it. I feel like I just heard that the term individuals that appears in the bill, or in the amendments to the bill, would capture trade unions. Is that a correct interpretation? Like, is there an interpretation act or something that sets that out?
So the clause is about corporations and individuals participating on a competitive basis in the supply of goods and services. So trade unions wouldn't necessarily participate in the supply of goods and services. They would represent the individuals that do. And that's why individuals are either represented by trade unions or not, and both can participate.
Okay. I guess the only other piece that I just wanted to clarify on this, because there's parts in this proposed amendment about labor agreements and community benefit agreements, and those are tools that are important for provinces and